Hi, hello, welcome if you're new, or welcome back if you're not. If you are new, I'm Lucy. Hi, and today I'm going to be talking through some tips for resistant homeschoolers. So if you haven't watched any of my previous videos and you don't know me and this is the first time you've clicked over to this channel, I am a qualified primary school teacher. I'm qualified to teach all the way from early years up to year 6, and I'm still finding homeschooling hard. Let me just say that right now. If I had wanted that as a choice for my children, I would have homeschooled them. I want my children to be able to go to school, but right now that's not possible. We're making the best of that situation. However, I know I'm not alone in saying that I am coming up against some resistance and have come up against some resistance from my school age children, because this is new and this is difficult and it's different. And I thought I would share something that we have done, that we've implemented, that is working really, really well for that homeschool resistance of them not wanting to get on with the tasks that you would like them to get on with. I have already shared some videos about what our homeschool routine would look like and some ideas for if you're a working parent. I will put links to those videos in the description down below. We are still using our routine in a slightly different way. So we're still using our breaks, our lunches, our active time and all those sorts of things in the same way from that routine. But I've restructured the way that they do their academic time. I was coming up against quite a lot of resistance, particularly from Dylan in the first 2 weeks of homeschool, because he didn't want me to be his teacher. He didn't kind of respect me as his teacher because I'm his mum. So he was being very, very resistant in the first 2 weeks before Easter, whereas Everly was probably being a little bit more compliant and getting on with it. Since they've come back from the Easter break, they've kind of switched, and Dylan is a lot more compliant and getting on with everything, and Everly is having a bit of a wobble. But what I have done to help, and we are now 4 days in, so I think I can safely say that it is helping, is I have tried to give the children more autonomy and more independence and more choice in their learning. One of the things that always really stuck with me from when I did my teacher training, and that I implement quite a lot as a parent, is the idea of giving children a win-win choice. If kids feel like they're making the choice and they have the control of the situation, they will fight you less. But what you need to do is give them choices that are win-win for you. So for example, if you wanted them to make their bed in the morning and they were saying they didn't want to make their bed, you could turn around and you could say, right, you've got two choices. You can either make it quickly now, or you can have your breakfast and then you can make your bed after breakfast. Which one would you prefer to do? And it's funny how that little mindset for children of how you've given them the choice between when they make their bed, but you're winning either way because they're either going to make it now or they're going to make it after breakfast, seems to make a massive difference in children's heads. I think, to be fair, it probably makes a massive difference in grown-ups' heads. We like to know that we're in control of our own destiny and in charge of our own lives. And I think if you can give them that choice, it really, really helps. So what we have done is we've implemented something called the Perfect 10 in our house. This term, our children are keeping all of their work in ring binders, and in the front of their ring binder is their Perfect 10 sheet. So this Perfect 10 sheet is a completed Perfect 10 sheet because we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we're on Thursday now. And basically, it's a glorified to-do list. So it's got the list of activities I would like them to do that day, but then it's up to them what order they do those activities in. I don't know about you, but as a grown-up, I find it really satisfying having a to-do list and getting to tick off things that I've done. And I also know that my children quite like that whole idea of having really specific steps they know they need to go through. So what the key to this is, if you're going to implement something similar, is to make it a mixture of stuff that's really easy for them to tick off and stuff that's slightly harder for them to tick off. So this is not all academic. Let me take it out and show you. So I don't know if you can see really clearly our Monday list. So it's got 10 things, but some of these are really easy things. So one of them is get myself dressed, another one is clean my teeth, and another one is make my bed. Those are things that our kids would do. I was gonna say every day, but they don't always make their beds, but most days these are things that my children would do anyway. So they are really easy for them to tick off, and it means that by the time we sit down to do any proper homeschooling at the table, they can already tick off stuff that they've done, which feels really satisfying. And then they have an English activity, a maths activity, a chore, a PSHE activity, a subject activity, and a creative activity each day that then they can tick off as they go. And then they have reading for 10 minutes. So sometimes Dylan particularly will leap out of bed and do his reading first thing in the morning because it's another thing he can tick off straight away. But that's also a thing that if you haven't quite caught it during the day, you can catch up with that one at bedtime. When you actually break this list down, 4 of those activities are things we would do every day normally anyway. And one of those is a chore, so it's something to help out around the house. I have to say, I don't know why I didn't implement this before, because sometimes I don't put the chore in straight away in the morning because I haven't worked out what chore I'm going to ask them to help with. But my children have now got to the point where they are actively asking me for chores they can help with, and I didn't think I would ever see a time when that would happen. So I think we might keep these when they go back to school in a similar kind of guise, because anything that's going to get my kids to help out around the house is great by me. When we get back into what the academic activities are, they've got different activities and they will change from day to day. As you can see, some of the topics kind of ongoing, so they might have started something on Monday and then a little bit more on Tuesday and Wednesday, so they're ongoing pieces of work. Other ones are just kind of standalone pieces of work. And some of the activities, if you look at this one for example, tick 2 boxes. So I started them off doing a COVID-19 time capsule project, and that counted as their English because it involved writing, but it also counted as subject work, because I feel like making a time capsule is historical and we can link it to other historical work, talk about the fact they might want to look back at it in the future and that this is an important part of history that they're living through right now. And there are lots of examples of activities doubling up as we go through this. That also gives the children that sense that they've kind of beaten the system because they've done one activity and they've got to tick off 2 things. So that is working really, really well. So aside from the activities that match up, you can see that we're covering all kinds of different bases, and the activities are varying from day to day, and they're still getting plenty of active time in because that kind of is part of our routine, kind of alongside our meals and all that sort of thing. So basically, although these activities are numbered, they're not expected to be done in any particular order. All that has to happen is that the children have to have completed the 10 of them. They still don't seem to have got their heads around at the moment the fact that they sit down and I go, what do you want to learn first? Because as far as I'm concerned, as long as they do all these things, I'm winning, but they feel like they have the control because they can say, oh, well, I really don't want to do maths right now, can I do some English? Or I really don't want to do anything really, really academic, can I get on with a creative activity? And they're getting to choose, and I don't mind what they choose because I know that by the end of the day, they'll have done all the things that they need to do anyway. This is obviously the way that I've set it up, and we've just given it the name of the perfect 10 because that's what we're doing. We're sort of aiming high, we're aiming to get that 10 out of 10 each day. So obviously this could look different and you could adapt this to suit your children. You might want to have a slightly shorter list. I wouldn't advise having a list any longer than 10 because I think as soon as the to-do list feels too long, it feels insurmountable, whereas I think if you keep it concise, that really helps. If you keep plenty of activities on it, which is stuff they would already do, that really helps. So things like making the bed, cleaning the teeth, getting dressed, so they can start the day off feeling like they're already aiming high and already getting on with what they need to do on their list. And we're also incentivizing it because we've said that if both of them get perfect 10 for the whole of the week, then there'll be a reward for them at the end of it. And that is really, really helping this week with the resistance or to getting back into school routines. Maybe take this as an idea and run with it and make it work for your children. This definitely will not be a concrete thing that will stay the same. It's something that we will adapt, and as they start getting bored of it, I'll probably change it in format and make it feel new so that it continues to work for us. But it's definitely working for us really well right now. And if you were having a child in your house be quite resistant to the idea of homeschool, I definitely recommend giving some form of to-do list and some sort of win-win for you situation a try, because if you give children autonomy and independence to get on with things, they're much happier to do it because they feel like they have control. And right now all that we want is for our kids to be happy and to get on with what we would ask them to get on with. So that's why it's working really well for us, and I hope it would work really well for you too. So let me know if you're going to give this a go in the comments and how you might adapt it to work for your children, and I will see you for another video very soon.